So, I refused to supply my younger sister with alcohol because she was underage. Well, the police showed up at her party, but for some reason, I hear them knocking on my apartment door 2 hours later, and you will not believe why. This happened some years ago. I'm in my 30s now, but back when I was 22. My sister was 18 and was my mom's golden child. My dad, thankfully, has a good head on his shoulders and always called my sister out on her crap. But my mom's interference always meant my sister got off easy. This is what happened back then. My parents decided to take a vacation to ski in Aspen and let my sister watch the house for them. They told her no parties, but that was a rule she straight up ignored. A day after our parents left, my sister started inviting and sending out invites to a party. And she was promising free alcohol. I did not see that post just yet, but my sister called me and asked me to go get alcohol for her party because I was over 21 and could legally buy it. She also wanted me to pay for it and said she'd invite me to the party and introduce me to a easy girl in order to pay me back. I told her that I was not going to break the law to make her happy. She should never have told people her party would have alcohol. She screamed at me over the phone that I was ruining her life, and that she could not take back the invites now, and that they're all over Facebook. I looked at her post and facepalmed. I told her that what she did was just really stupid, and she and her friends were all underage, so it's illegal. She tried to say it'd only be illegal if I narked on them. I said I wouldn't narc, but I wasn't going to buy her booze either. She screamed at me some more, so I hung up the phone. Well, that night, my sister had the party, and someone called the police for underage drinking. After being arrested and confronted by police later on, my sister threw me under the bus and said that I supplied the alcohol she was using. Turns out she actually broke into Dad's liquor cabinet and thought it'd be better to frame me for her crime. Police came and arrested me at my apartment the day after the party. They seemed so convinced that I was guilty, and did not really listen to me when I said I was never there. But I willingly cooperated with them. At the station, I told them the whole story, and got them to look at my sister's Facebook post. Thankfully, there were a few people there who listened to me, but I still had to sit the night out in a jail cell while my parents were called. My mom and dad flew back home overnight, and bailed out both my sister and I, but my mom tried to make my dad leave me in jail, because my sister had told them her lies as well. But my dad took the time to talk to me and look at my sister's Facebook, so he believed me. This caused a fight between him and my mom. When they got home, my dad discovered my sister had broken into his liquor cabinet and spoke to the police on my behalf. My mom, however, still wanted the blame to fall on me, because as she put it, the charges were ruining her baby's future. But my innocence was further proven by the fact that I and my car were seen on CCTV when I left work, and when I arrived at home soon after, as the apartment I was living in then had CCTV cameras to watch. My car did not move from there for the rest of the day and the night. In my sister's story to the police, I had driven out and gotten the alcohol for her, but I wasn't seen on CCTV in any liquor store in the county, and my bank account showed no transactions buying alcohol. My parents' house also had a camera at the front door, and my car was never seen in their driveway that day. After being confronted with those facts, my sister's story changed to saying I already had the alcohol and gave it to her at my apartment, but my sister's car never showed up there either. And there was like 3 cheap beers in my apartment fridge. No hard alcohol. My sister finally had to give up on her lies, and my parents were severely disappointed in her. But my mom still tried to convince me to take the fall for my sister. She came to my apartment and actually demanded that I tell the police it was all my fault. I said I wasn't going to ruin my future for my sister. She refused to leave and went from demanding to begging. She even got on her knees, tried to convince me that she and my dad would make everything okay in the long run if I just took the blame now. I said I'd rather live my life poor than have that felony on my record. She threw a huge fit, started throwing things because, well, I refused to do as she wanted. I threatened to call the police and she left my apartment cursing me out like a mad woman. I've never heard so many F-bombs out of her before or since, but she just kept them up all the way to her car and followed it up with saying she should have aborted me before driving away. I called my dad right away and told him everything that transpired. He was insanely mad and got into a huge fight with my mom as soon as she got home. She did not even deny anything she said nor did, because she deemed it would have been for the greater good of their daughter. But my dad told her that she could not destroy me to save my daughter. Then he threatened to divorce her if she did not try to make things right. She ended up sobbing and then saying she'd do whatever he wants. My dad said that it was a couples and family counseling, or it was divorce. My mom signed a prenup before she married him and really had no choice. In the family counseling, I called her out on how she always believes my sister's lies. My sister tried to say that they were not lies, but each one I pointed out from over the years said otherwise. I'd taken the time to write a list of all the ones I could remember from the past decade that have all been proven she lied. And my mom and sister were forced to stay silent as I read them all. They tried to interject repeatedly, but my dad and the counselor silenced them. My sister, now proven beyond a doubt to be a liar and a manipulator, just shut down and refused to say anything more to the counselor. And my mom finally apologized to me. But it was obviously a forced apology because, well, she looked so uncomfortable doing it. I told her that her apology was very fake, and after so many years of her favoritism, the damage was already done. My relationship with her was never really recovered, because she was convinced I was guilty no matter what was said until my sister admitted the truth. And then wanted me to pretend to be guilty one way to protect her favorite child. But nothing went her way, so she just went back to crying about it. When my sister went to court, my mom pleaded with the judges to go easy on my sister for the charges of underage drinking and give other underage people alcohol, as well as attempting to frame me for the crime. She also resisted arrest when the police came and shut down the party. She was very drunk when this happened. They kept her in a cell overnight to sober up, and then she told the police I'd been the one to provide the alcohol. My mom's begging, along with the relentless lawyer my parents hired, got the judge to cut a deal, provided my sister pleaded guilty, which she did not want to do. But her lawyer highly recommended she takes the said deal to avoid jail time, because there was no other way of keeping her from getting a felony on her record. My sister's lawyer used the fact that the alcohol had not been bought that day, but rather had already been in the house long before the party happened to help lessen the charges. My sister's Facebook had also been completely deleted by her as soon as she was able to in order to hide the post. The judge just wanted the case over with, so my sister got off with a huge fine that our mom paid most of it out of her own pocket, and a couple years probation. She was also made to get therapy too by our dad. She never really showed actual remorse for what she did though, and only had animosity for me no matter how in the wrong she was. She was eventually diagnosed as a narcissist after Dad made her go see a doctor. After her probation and 4 years of college were over, she decided she was going to leave home for California and never come back when she lands a good job. She currently works in an office in LA, and we've not spoken in years. Dad got her that job, and she's not shown any real appreciation for it. Even my mom's given up on her ever coming home for the holidays and us being a family again. It tore her up inside for a few years, but now she's just bitter. She doesn't really blame me anymore, but we only seem to show indifference towards each other. Just, well, basically because my sister cut her off and would not make me the new de facto favorite. It just means my mom lost her baby and is not getting her back. She can't leave my dad because she's too reliant on him, despite having her own career. She'd never want to be on her own again. She's just become a shell of her former self. Things between me and Dad are still great. He's pretty much disowned my sister for what she's done and has stopped caring if she'll ever talk to him again. He and my mom don't even sleep in the same bedroom anymore. She moved into the guest room some 5 years ago and has stayed there. Their marriage is really only on paper these days. So let's read the top comment from this post. That's a terrible thing, OP, most especially about your mom. That had to hurt, but remember, you are not their opinion. Your worth can't be quantified by people who don't understand the concept of being worthy. Guys, let me know about this one and exactly what you would tell OP. Drop it in the comment section below. There's one final story we're going to look at. Am I the a-hole because I did not tell my roommates I own the house and I'm letting them evict themselves? I'm a 28-year-old female and I own a house. I wish I did not because, well, I inherited it from my grandmother, whom I would prefer to have back. It's an older house in a mature neighborhood in my city. It has a huge yard, a garden, and a detached garage large enough for a couple of cars and an RV. It also has an in-law suite where I live. I started living there when I started university and I love it. My exit leads to the backyard and my garden. After the estate was all settled, I was left with a little money and a fully paid off house. I am the baby of all the cousins and I was an oopsie baby. I'm a 17 years younger than the next youngest, and I decided that I would keep living in my area and just take on short-term renters to help cover my expenses. I also plan to allow any of my nieces and nephews who went to school in my city to live with me. So far, only my one nephew has, and, well, he's well behaved and moved out when he finished school. I found a couple that wanted the entire upper floor for 1 year, while they got settled from moving across the country for work. No big deal, I have 3 siblings graduated the next year, and only one might go to school in my city. So I let my property manager set up a 1-year lease. My city does not have a minimum rental increase, this is important. So after 6 months the problem starts. The wife got pregnant, and they like the house. They've not found a house they want to buy, and they want to keep living there, but they don't want a roommate. So one day, the husband catches me and says that he's talked to the property manager about renting the entire house, and that I might want to start looking elsewhere for a place to live. I checked with my guy, and yup, he wants the whole house. So I talked to my lawyer because I don't want any problems. As long as the increase is 1 year after tenancy, I give 3 months notice. There's literally no limit on the rental increase. So I tell my property manager to raise the rent for the ground level 50%. They have 5 months notice of a rental increase, so I'm in the clear. Now, I can hear them fighting about having to find a new place, which I don't get because I was clear in the lease that it was only for a year. And I gave them a good price because they had excellent credit and rental history. The real estate market in my city isn't crazy. They should be able to find something to buy in time, or at least somewhere else to rent. I've talked to my parents about this, and they said I'm being sort of a jerk. I don't think I am. I have a plan for my home, and it does not involve me moving out. I have a garden that I've worked with my grandmother my entire life. I have a yard with raspberry bushes my grandfather planted for his kids and grandchild. My dog likes having a yard to play in. I could have told them it's my home, but it's none of their business. So guys, let me ask you this. Am I the a-hole for essentially kicking them out? Not the a-hole is what everyone in the comments is saying. Not the a-hole. When the husband told you to start looking, he told you exactly what he'd do if the roles were reversed. He'd kick you out to the curb. Funny that they did not even respect your seniority and wanted to kick you out of the house you occupied beforehand. You can get rid of them with no guilt. Also, the fact that she's pregnant is of no importance here. She can manage her stress by herself, not your problem. Do you guys agree with that statement, yes or no? I say not the a-hole, just like almost everyone in the comment section. But let me hear your thoughts on this one. Drop it below, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed the stories, and if you did, consider subscribing. I'll catch you guys in the next one.